Hello, Facebook friends and family. Welcome to today's show.
Hey, everybody.
Now, in today's show, we are going to tell you or go over some of the reasons why you should change your money mindset. Okay?
Money mindset. What is that?
Exactly. Right? Sounds stressful already. Not really. We're going to help you get some common misconceptions out of the way and help you with some hints and tips on things you can do to get better at your money management. Okay? So first things first is that you should kind of be creating financial goals. And it's kind of just that simple. You need to know what your goals are for your finances. You need to know what your saving looks like, what your investing looks like, what your spending looks like, right? You need to know what the numbers are so that you can adjust based on the goals that you have, right? So start to jot down some of the things that you want to do, some things you want to achieve just to begin, and then we'll kind of expound from there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And once you have those financial goals, this is going to be number 2. You want to start tracking things in a spreadsheet. I know that sometimes tracking, okay, it sounds like, okay, I have to do this certain thing every day. And at first you'll think about it. Okay. Like you'll just think about it but after you do it for, people say 21 days. I think it takes longer than that personally. Once you start doing it for a few months, you'll continue to do it, but you now start writing things down. And I'm going to expand upon that when it comes to money. Just do this for 30 days. Okay. Do it for 30 days and see what the outcome is. Writing down, your financial goals, short and long term, but then having also a spreadsheet where you log your spending. If you want to make it easy, use one credit card or one debit card for the entire month for all your spending, because then you can just download your statement and then you can, put it into a spreadsheet, if you will. But if we don't write things down, it's very easy to lose track of them. And this is the same whether we're talking about other types of goals as well. But inside of money is a very specific thing. Right. One of the reasons that I love math as much as I do is because for me, math is fairly cut and dry. Right. If I wrote these numbers down, it's tangible. I can see what it went in, what went out, how much I have to put towards my investments for the month. How much should I spend on coffee, the whole 9 yards, right? So I can get that itemized list, if you will. There's other like fancy tools where you can scan receipts in to track like itemized things and stuff like that. You can do your own research on that kind of stuff.
Yep. And the next thing, number 3 for us, is going to be go ahead and do a little bit of research. Find those personal finance books after you've already decided what your goals are, because different finance books are made for people with different financial goals. So once you know what your goals are, do a little bit of research and find out what books might work best for you as far as helping you get the information that you need.
Yeah. And also like, what level are you at? Right. So like if you go through Amazon and you're a beginner and someone's like complaining that the information was too beginner friendly, then that's probably the book for you, because you're a beginner, right? So if you're advanced, then obviously now you're starting to buy more dense books. Like I have a book that's so dense, it's on self-directed IRAs. What is that, right? That's not the book you're going to start with, okay? Right. So understanding that, reading personal books, if you will, and finance books. And I'm just elaborating on this a little bit. I did some research this week. There is a ton of free classes. Just Google it. It's funny that we have this theme, Christy, like research and Google. There's a bunch of free financial classes available online to learn different things so that you can start financing like an adult. I know that doesn't sound like fun, right? So the number 4 is, this is the toughest one for most people, is starting to move in the direction where you can actually remove emotion from your money. Money is just a tool. It's not evil. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not, it's just, it has no emotion. It shouldn't have any emotion attached to it, but 99% of us attach emotion to money. Why? Because there's things that happen that emotion is bad, feel bad. We got to fork out our money for paying bills, right? We feel good when we can buy ourselves, a new pair of Nikes at the store if that's what we want, or whatever, right? So we attach these emotions to the money, but at the end of the day, if you start treating your money as a tool, and that tool is there to benefit you, you will start seeing that there is an abundance of money in the world. It's there for the taking. It's there for the asking. All you have to do is put the effort, energy in, but you have to stop attaching your emotions to the money, right? So, and that's something that spilled over for me by becoming a Forex trader, because we have to detach our emotions from the money before we can really have success inside of trading. And then you start to look at other things and say, how can I use this money? And then you start to say, well, if it's a tool, if I see it as a tool, what you're going to pay more attention to making sure you keep more of your money. And what do you do with the money you keep? You maybe invest more money then, right? And grow your wealth. But the first step is the hardest, which is removing emotion.
Right. And you kind of do need to start investing somewhere, right? And that's tip number 5 for you. Do me a favor, do you a favor, do your future you a favor, and open up an investment account. After you've done the research to find out some of your financial goals, you're going to start falling into more information. There are entire rabbit holes that you're going to fall down. Okay. And when you fall down that rabbit hole, you're going to see investments that match your goals. It doesn't have to be trading. It doesn't have to be purchasing crypto. It doesn't have to be that. There are many other investment vehicles that you can get into to start investing and making your money work for you. And think about it like this. You can actually use some of the revenue or the gains that you get from your investments to start funding other areas of your life. Mm-hmm. Like we like looking at things that have dividend payments. And it's because we don't take out the investment, but we do utilize the dividends. So take a look at once you get these goals down, figuring out what investments you want to start with.
Right. It's like turning your money into your employee. Because you're opening an investment account and you're making that money do work for you. It's like turning each dollar into an employee, and you're the employer, and you're making that money go to work for you. So an abundance of information on the internet. There are interviews up the wazoo on YouTube. This is free stuff, guys. Yep. Watching interviews from people who are well-known financial and money experts. Don't just find one person you really, really love and only watch them. Right. I have my favorites, but also experts have conflicting opinions, just like any other area of expertise. So you want to start kind of get a well-rounded view on the topics that you're learning, and then put together in a way that makes sense. Yesterday, I talked about Dave Ramsey. I love his idea of putting $1,000 away for emergency fund before you do anything else. So it's there, but I don't like his idea of waiting to invest till you pay your debt off, because I wouldn't be able to pay off my debt or get 6 months of savings if I wouldn't have invested early on. So you take what makes sense for you and from different money experts, but they're still experts, right? Right. You also have to take into consideration when you're choosing your experts, getting to know a little bit of their background, because some of them are there to sell you books and stuff. There's nothing bad or wrong about that. Right. But Dave Ramsey's probably going to even if he thinks differently, he may never change his tune, because he's sold a lot of books and keeps selling the books. Right. But that's free information. It's there for the taking. Right. And then for you guys, tip number 7 is going to be find someone that you know that has their finances in order, and maybe have some conversations with them. You have a good friend, family member, business partner that legitimately handles their finances well. And we're not saying that they might be gurus, right? But what we are saying is you have people close to you that you can connect with, and you can kind of start to get the advice of, well, how were you able to start, maybe if you're in the beginning, or if you have a business, how are you able to track revenues month over month? Like, what are you doing to do it? I see you have a lot of success, right? So reach out to the people around you in your circle, right? And your circle is very big because the internet is huge, right? But reach out to people in your circles who have the success that you're looking for,
right? Even if it's not your be all end all goal for success, but people who are ahead of you, they got there somehow. So it would be a good idea to maybe take a little bit of advice from some of them, ask a couple questions. I know last week we talked about coaches and mentors, right? And that's one of the things that I talk to my coaches and mentors about. I am seeking mentorship from these people because they have success that I don't have yet, right? And that's in multiple areas of my life. I don't have one coach for everything, one mentor for everything. I have a mentor for finances, a mentor for my personal health and my diet, right? I have a mentor for trading. And I reach out to them because they have the success that I want. So don't be afraid to talk to more than one person too.
I noticed you used the word legitimately has their finances together.
Oh yeah. Yes. Like your friends who look like they're balling out of control, right? They have everything in order because they drive that whatever car that you love. They have the big earrings and the crazy necklaces, and they always look put together. We all have that favorite auntie or uncle that looks put together, that has that house that's like they're swimming in debt end, that needs repairs, right? The car that they've leased that nobody knows is a lease, right? So maybe not look at the flashier people, because when you really start having conversations with wealthy people, they don't look wealthy.
That's true.
They don't need to be flashy because, their bank account got commas in it. So,
you actually probably know, and you, the viewer, know more millionaires than you think you do, because most millionaires, there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door, and I really encourage you to read it. Because most millionaires are not who you think they are, and you know more of them than you think you do. And that's because, they're still wearing the jeans and the plaid shirt, and they're driving the older car, and they have the modest home, right? And nobody knows that they have millions of dollars, because the reason they have what they have is because they don't spend on frivolous things. They have a nice, comfortable, wonderful life, but they don't need a $200,000 vehicle.
Right.
So, okay, let's talk about managing debt. That's number 8. We're going to do number 9, 1 through 9 today. And then let's do this, Christine. Let's throw a number 10 in the Pips for Brunch newsletter tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So number 9 is learning to manage debt. Now, what does that mean exactly? Okay. There is, and again, I've listened to a lot of different experts. Some say pay cash for everything. Some say, here's my thing. I believe in the good debt versus bad debt thing. Okay. Some gurus don't, some do, some advocate it. But if you want to build real wealth, you will need to use other people's money most of the time. Let's just say you want to get involved in real estate. Okay. Are you going to wait till you have $300,000 cash to buy a property, and then you're not going to get your second property until you've saved up $300,000 in cash again? No, you're going to use other people's money, OPM. You're going to take a loan up from the bank, or maybe you're going to find a private lender, right? An angel investor, if you will. Maybe you're going to work out a private contract with the owner of the property where you don't go through the bank. So you're using the owner's money to finance that property. And that's just real estate. I'm just talking real estate. There's all kinds of different areas. So if you're learning how to manage your debt, what you want to start doing is this a good debt thing or a bad debt? So what's a bad debt? What would be bad debt? Bad debt would be going and charging up your groceries and then not paying the credit card off every month. If you pay the credit card off every month, that's one thing. A lot of people like to just put everything on a credit card because it's safer, as far as like if your card gets hacked into, to use credit cards. A lot of experts will say don't ever just use your debit card. Only use credit cards and pay it off in full. But if you can't discipline yourself to pay your stuff off in full, charging groceries, things that you should be coming out of your living expenses, would be bad debt. Charging things that you think that you want would be bad debt. Stuff that it's going to take, by the time you pay it off with your what interest you have, this is how much you paid, plus all the other things that we taught you about how much the cost is of that item. Now it's on top of it, it's interest on top of it for the credit card. But what is good debt? If you're kind of new to the whole concept of looking at things this way, Good debt would be if you needed to charge something for an education course,
Yep.
and that education course is going to make you money, right? Or it has the potential, nothing's guaranteed, right? Putting in educational courses for financial things would be a good resource or a good use of your debt. Do you want to borrow money from the bank, right? Have the bank lend you money so that you can have a rental property that is income producing? Like I said, why would you not use the bank's money or the private lender's money or the angel investor or whatever it is you're using? Would you wait? I want you to think about this. This is not bad debt. It's good debt, because it's debt that is creating income. As long as you can keep what's coming in bigger than what that debt is. So let's just say we'll just make it easy. Let's say you have a payment on that rental property for $1,000, but you bring in $1,500 in rent, right? That would be good debt to have that you owe on that property still. I actually personally know some like multimillionaire real estate investors who do not own any personal home residence or property because they don't want to tie up any money inside of like a personal property, right? They always want to have this cash flow that they can use to put down payments on and take loans out from the bank. And so they actually rent everywhere they go. And then I know one, he owns like 73 properties and he rents his personal property. I know it sounds crazy, right?
Right.
Start thinking about good debt versus bad debt. And does every real estate investor do that? No, I know plenty that own their own personal residence, right? But did you even think of that? Did you think that a real estate guru would be renting his personal residence? I bet you didn't. Right. Bet you didn't even think about that. And why would they do it?
And that's one of the things that I was talking to Christy about the other day. I don't actually want to own a home. I want to rent because I like the amenities that come along with I personally like high-rise apartments. I like the amenities that come along. I like the security. I like there being indoor pools and gyms on site, right? Parking. I live in Michigan. I like not having to deal with snow removal, right? But in the same token, that might not be for everybody, but I get that. But the benefits for me outweigh home ownership because I've never owned a home before. And it's because I'm terrified of the what ifs. What happens if the hot water tank goes out in the middle of, and we have winter here? What happens if the furnace goes out? Like, so for me, that risk to reward conversation that we talked about yesterday, like that is how I decided what I wanted to do. Yes, I do want to own income producing property. I just don't want to live in one, so whatever floats your boat. Right.
Right. And she may even want to own a condo that has all those amenities. So she has ownership. And that would that be good debt or bad debt? Well, it depends on her. Right. Because she might rather I'll just rent the same type of situation rather than buy a condominium. And condos, this is like side thing. Condos, people think of them as like apartments. They can be like apartments, but condos is actually a form of ownership. You could have a neighborhood with homes and each one is in a condo contract. Yeah. But the thing is that you have to weigh that, you want to weigh that out, but you're changing her money mindset. Like, for me, the only reason for owning a home, buying a home is that my husband really wants that. For me, I am I'm a gypsy. I feel suffocated by being what I feel like stuck in one property. Yeah. Right. Like I want to be able to move around and do things at the drop of a hat. Like, I don't want to rent this place anymore. I want to go. I've lived in many different states and moved around. And I could think of the nightmare of home ownership for me while I was doing different traveling. Someone else might look at me and like, are you crazy? All they want to do is stay in the same home until they die. Right. Yeah. So this is an individual thing, but look at it. Is it good debt or is it bad debt? I will tell you that if a lot of people think of their home as an asset, assets really are things that are income producing. Right. If your home isn't really income producing, it's not a bad thing to own a home, but it's not really an asset. It's not producing any income for you. It's actually costs you money to own a home.
It's a bit of a liability.
Right. Yep. But you got to pay the money for rent too. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And then our last tip for today is just get started, right? Don't wait until you have the money. Don't wait until you've paid off the credit card. Don't wait. Just start. Everybody had to begin somewhere, right? And the beginning is how you get to the end. So just start. Don't keep waiting for and watching, and don't let your research put you into like an analysis paralysis situation where you have so much information, you feel like you can never actually make a decision. Listen, if you start with a small amount, it's okay to make some mistakes. It's okay to say, you know what, plan A didn't work, plan B time, right? It's perfectly okay, especially if this is not something that you are accustomed to doing. It's okay to have that learning time frame. Now, what I am going to put the caveat on there as, please learn from your mistakes if you do make them. Don't make the same mistakes repeatedly. Okay. But you have got to get started. Like we said, write down just from what you currently have going out and coming in, write it down, right? And we talked about this earlier in the week too. Take an itemized little, like I took a marker to my statement and just made everything green. That was like, I spent this at the gas station and this much of it was snacks, right? I spent this, I was just randomly going to the store for one thing and spent the extra $40 on stuff I kind of didn't need, right? Go through and then start to look at, on average, look back through some of your other statements too. On average, what does your spending look like? And then start to make the adjustments. We're not saying cold turkey, cut out everything. That's not how life works for a lot of people, for most people. Cold turkey don't work for me, okay? Don't like it. So start where you can, but start is very important just to get going. You're going to learn a lot along the way. And there are plenty of research places, Google, that you can always go to. Like, we like Google.
There are some statistics. I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head. It's something like, if you learn something, like we're teaching you something right now, if you don't put an action step into place within 2 hours of learning something, you're 67% likely that you'll never do it. And after 2 days, it's like 89% likely that you won't do it. So it's pretty crazy. So like when you come to this class or you go to a seminar, like you ever hear about people going to all these seminars, right, Christina? And then they come home, they're all jacked up, but they never do anything. And then they go and pay for another one, right? Think, hey, Tony Robbins changed my life. Then you go home. Because if you don't take an action step immediately, then it's likely you will not do it. Right. And an action step could be as simple as right now, as soon as you're done listening to this, you go to Google, you go and you look for a class, you bookmark it, you send a reminder on your phone that you're going to watch it tonight at 7:00, and you go and you watch it. But you made an action step as soon as you were done listening to this to Google the information and get a reminder set up to watch something. So it's really important every day when we cover things on this show or anything else that you're doing. If we're talking about something that is of interest to you and you're thinking you can benefit from it, that you take an action step almost immediately when you're done listening to us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like we on our team, we always talk about working off the speed of implementation. And think about it like this. And I'll tell you why the speed of implementation is important to me. Okay. Have you ever had one of those ideas, and that idea, because you didn't act on it, you seen it as a commercial on TV later? Did that make you as mad as it made me? Okay. So we work off of the speed of implementation. I have this thing where if I think of something, especially like I'll give you guys URLs for an example. We have a lot of URLs. If I think of something as far as a URL and what it can be used for, I purchase it right then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's because, like, if you go to someplace like GoDaddy, they're usually $1 for the first year, like not $1 a month, $1 for a whole year. If you go to Google, they're $12 for the year, right? If I purchase it, because you put that energy into the universe, stuff's going to start happening. But now I have it, so I can start building on it, and there's no rush. But I started, right? So the speed of implementation is a thing for me. And I know do us a favor, comment below on this video. If you've had one of those epiphanies and you didn't act on it and you actually seen it come to fruition in reality, like, let us know your experience in the comments below. Cause I'm terribly curious now.
It's a hard lesson because you start to realize, or maybe you don't, I don't know. But the reality is it's not about your ideas. It's about implementation and action taking.
Yep. Because every single thing you see in front of you was a thought. Everything was once a thought. It was just somebody acted on that thought faster than somebody else, you know? And then the thing is too, don't let other people doing something that you're like passionate about stop you from doing it. If you want to start on these journeys of becoming more financially empowered and you want to share said information, share the information with other people. You might learn a lot on your journey because you're a beginner from other beginners who might just be 1 or 2 steps ahead, right? You might start to form what we talked about last week was those little mastermind groups of people who get together and say, you know what, I'm just starting too. Let's just start together. And you might speed up your learning curve a little bit, but start.
Just start.
Exactly.
Just start right away, like ASAP.
Right.
Just take a step.
First step, you know, they're important for you to do. Now, do us a favor. Don't forget, go ahead, sign up for Pips for Brunch. We have some sauce for you guys because we like lists of things. Inside of the newsletter, we're going to drop a few lists. So what was going to be number 10 today is going to be a list in there. And then I will share with you guys one of my personal spreadsheets that I started to use in the beginning when I started to try to get my finances under control. It's a house inventory list. So I'll make sure that you guys have a PDF, a downloadable copy of that as well.
That's awesome. We'll get that out tomorrow.
Awesome. Now that's going to wrap us up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, because, you know, other people might need this information too. But we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.